Welcome back to Orange Blossom Healing, the channel where I am excited to help you feel better with diet and lifestyle. Today we are going to talk about the hormone cortisol and why we need to be aware of this hormone and how we can manage it and reduce it. So, of course, cortisol is also known as the stress hormone because it is your body's way of confronting a crisis. This hormone wants you to move. It wants you to run away effectively from what it is that is causing the stress. So you will have heard the analogy that our ancestors were running away from saber-toothed tigers. Cortisol came in order to equip them to run away faster and react quickly to this threat. Nowadays, even if we are scrolling on social media and that's getting us stressed out through comparison, or if we've had an argument with somebody, or if things are getting too much at work, all of these will cause the stress hormone and the exact same neurochemical pattern that happened when our ancestors were escaping from saber-toothed tigers. Unfortunately, in all of those situations, it's not always easy to physically run. So what can you do? Firstly, if you can go for a run or for a walk, fantastic. Stand up and move your body in that way. If you're tied to a small area and it's not possible to walk or run, just doing star jumps or squats or a movement that on the spot gets your heart racing and tells your body that you're moving is fantastic. Failing all of that, if you have to sit still, maybe you're in a meeting and you can't do any of those things without looking like a crazy person, a really good way to release cortisol is to do calf raises. If your feet are flat on the floor, you just lift up your heels so that your calf muscles are engaged and then replace them on the floor and just keep doing that. Nobody will notice. I'm doing it right now with my legs, and the calf muscle is fantastic at burning cortisol. If movement for whatever reason is not available to you, very simply, you can just look from left to right. This signals to your brain that you are looking for the threat that it is currently under. So just moving your eyes from left to right will help the cortisol to release and calm down. Long-term exposure to unrelenting stress is the leading cause of premature aging and fatigue. It also stimulates the release of insulin and the metabolism of fat, protein, and carbs for fast energy. These two actions increase appetite, which is why too much cortisol, too much stress can lead to increased weight gain or difficulty losing weight. It's also true that as women, our body has two main priorities. Those are survival and fertility. When survival becomes the main priority, i.e. running away from the saber-toothed tiger and surviving this moment of stress, fertility becomes demoted as a priority. And therefore, if fertility is a priority for you, it's really important to keep cortisol as low as possible. Cortisol naturally spikes and dips over a 24-hour period, which is part of our circadian rhythm. It switches off when you're sleeping and then slowly turns back on to peak at around 7 a.m. so that you feel really energized and ready to go when you wake up. It spikes again in the late afternoon and then it slowly decreases towards bedtime in order to help you invite a good sleep. Cortisol is produced by our adrenal glands, which use nighttime to recover. And so if you don't get a good sleep, the adrenal glands suffer and the rhythm of cortisol will suffer for you as well. Serotonin calms cortisol. An easy way to get serotonin is to see natural sunlight in the morning or just natural light. Even if it's a cloudy day, it will still have the same effect on your brain. So if you can just stand outside with your coffee for 5 minutes when you wake up in the morning, it signals to your brain to release serotonin and reduce cortisol. The same goes for around midday. You want to be out and seeing sunshine in the middle of the day when your body is supposed to be happy and functioning in order to signal that everything's okay and cortisol doesn't need to come in. If you are a woman with a cycle, cortisol is really important to consider within it. And the most important time is ovulation. So from around days 11 to days 15 are the times when you really need to reduce cortisol as much as possible. That's because at this time, your body's priority is fertility. And in order for that to be the case, it needs to not be in survival mode, fighting cortisol and the threats that come with it. When cortisol comes in during ovulation, it reduces our production of progesterone and testosterone, the other two sex hormones that we need. Progesterone helps us to feel calm and testosterone helps us to feel motivated and driven. So if we lose out on those, it might look something like anxiety, palpitations, low libido, low drive, and a general absence of motivation. We mentioned the importance of serotonin and getting natural light into your eyes, so not wearing sunglasses whilst you're doing that. But the absolute best medicine for cortisol is oxytocin, the love hormone. The opposite of fear is love, and so if we can get a hit of oxytocin, cortisol goes away and the problems that come with it are removed. Anything that makes you feel happy and loved gives you a hit of oxytocin. So from the very obvious sex and cuddles and physical affection to petting your dog or your cat or whatever animal you have, to playing with your children, to watching a comedian that really makes you laugh out loud. Anything that fills your cup and makes you feel really happy and loved is giving you a hit of oxytocin. I have loads more information about the hormonal hierarchy and your hormones within your cycle. Check out this video if you're interested in that. And if you think cortisol and how to manage it is something that would interest somebody you know or love, please share this video. I hope that helps and I'll see you next time. Take care.